ever feel like you're chasing a moving target, or like being good enough always feels like it's just out of reach? I get it. Growing up with a father who was an addict, losing a parent at a young age, and battling obsessive compulsive disorder throughout my life has taught me much about shame, guilt, and always trying to be good enough. But what if being good enough is a myth? What if your worth is not something to chase or try to measure up to? This is the Enough Effect podcast, a space to rewrite the narrative, share stories, and discover the power of being you exactly as you are. It's a monumental occasion, and that is today marks 2 months of the Enough Effect. That's crazy. That's so crazy. It's episode 8. I'm Abby Tabilos, your host of the Enough Effect. This is my passion project, so thank you so much for being here and listening to the stories I have to share. I talk a lot about OCD and anxiety, not only because I have OCD and anxiety, and I have a lot of resources I would love to share with people, but also because I do feel like the resources I'm sharing are not applicable only to people with OCD and anxiety. And today is no different. I have another book. It's been a couple weeks since I shared a book with you. It is this book, Comfortable with Uncertainty by Pema Chodron. I'm not pronouncing that the right way. I'm holding this up to the camera, or you can check my show notes. I actually heard about this book in the first book I mentioned a couple weeks ago, which, as a reminder, Everyday Mindfulness for OCD by John Hirschfield and Shayla Nicely is incredible, and it does quote Comfortable with Uncertainty in it. So that's why I bought this second book. To give you a bit of an intro to Comfortable with Uncertainty, it's actually very unique. Probably one of the most unique books I've read. Again, I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing this name, but Pema, she is a Buddhist, and she had one of her colleagues compile, like, I would say her best teachings. You can read the introduction of the book, but in the book, as you can see here, it's just like 67, 68. They're just one-page blurbs of like short things that she teaches you to just help you live a more peaceful life. I love it. I'm not quite done with it here if you're watching on YouTube. There's a quote you need to hear from this book that I'm about to read to you, and then I'll explain. And the quote says, "Stay with emotional distress without tightening into aversion, to let fear soften us rather than harden into resistance." That quote blew my mind the first time that I read it. It is about obviously learning how to be comfortable with uncertainty, which is a big problem not only for OCD sufferers, but just humankind in general. And now I'm going to use a couple of stories, as I do, to explain why this quote is so important and why it can transform your mental health management. I tend to get really bad anxiety flare-ups when I'm watching television because my brain goes, this is not productive, you are wasting time, and you're not working, and this is a sin. To put it in an interesting way. And so obviously I'm not a big fan of watching TV unless it's like as background for something else I'm doing, or if I'm with someone else, because it's productive to hang out with people, I guess. But when I get that spike in anxiety and those intrusive thoughts as I'm watching television, there are 2 ways I can choose to react to that anxiety. Number 1, I can do as that quote described and tighten into aversion. That's when I am like, oh my gosh, I do not want to be anxious. I'm trying to relax. I'm sick of being anxious. It's so unfair. How can I get rid of this anxiety right now? And I'm going to go do a compulsion, or I'm going to get bitter and irritable and resentful that I am who I am, and then my anxiety is going to get worse. Or I can do the other option that the quote said, and that is to let fear soften me rather than resist. We all have resisted anxiety at some point in our life. For a lot of us, including me, that resistance was chronic. You're afraid of feeling anxiety, you're afraid of being uncomfortable and petrified and in panic mode. However, the exciting thing is that we can learn how to lean into that vulnerable experience of being scared. Because when I'm sitting down to watch TV and I start to feel that anxiety come on, I'm shaking in my boots, because one of my biggest fears is once I'm anxious,
how long am I going to be anxious? Because it doesn't just go away usually. And if I'm feeling good, what if I get anxious and then I'm anxious for weeks on end? I'm scared. I'm horrified. And my natural reaction to being scared, because I am a human being, is to put up the walls and say, no, we can't have anxiety. We can't have this. We have to resist this. We have to run away. We're shutting down, lock all the doors, full on panic mode, fight or flight. It's freak out time. Because we are designed to protect ourselves. Everyone is designed to protect themselves. And our mind thinks that it's protecting us by going into that resistance mode. The key is to recognize when you're feeling scared and recognize how vulnerable that makes you. Because it's terrifying to say, I'm getting anxious. That sucks because I feel like somebody's choking me. I feel like my heart is gonna stop beating. I feel like there's a pound of bricks on my chest. And what if I feel this way for weeks? What if it ruins my day? What if I can't sleep? That's scary, and I'm scared, and I'm vulnerable right now, but I'm not gonna put up the walls. I'm not gonna resist the anxiety. I'm going to open myself to that fear, and I'm gonna feel that fear. And I know it's so annoying to say, feel your fear, feel your anxiety, because what does that even mean? Trust me, I've been there. But for me, that looks like I'm sitting on my couch watching my show. I recognize I'm scared, and I say, I am scared. And what that feels like for me is these are the sensations I get in my body. And I literally sometimes will say it out loud, or I'll say it to myself. Describe exactly how you feel. Do you feel a heaviness in your chest? What does that heaviness look like? Is it moving around in your body? Make it concrete. And then don't rush into anything. Don't go do anything about it. Just say, yeah, I'm scared. I'm very vulnerable right now, and I'm just going to keep watching TV and be vulnerable, and I'm not going to fix it. I'm not going to do anything about it because I'm a human, and this is part of being human. That's the hardest part. The hardest part is being open and being flexible, but that's what the essence of that quote is to me, is it's all about not going into protector mode and resisting the experiences that are coming towards you. It's recognizing that things happen to you, and that is life, and you're gonna be okay. And it's it's zen. It's very peaceful, and it's very hard work, and it does take a lot of practice. And I do want to read that quote one more time. The trick to doing this is to stay with emotional distress without tightening into aversion, to let fear soften us rather than harden into resistance. That's my challenge to you this week, is to focus on being open to fear and being soft and vulnerable and being in that scary place. It will pay off, and it will lead you to a place where you are so open to the beauty that is being you and being a human, and you won't be afraid of emotions anymore because you'll realize they're just sensations and they can't hurt you. No matter how uncomfortable they are, you can just be open. And if you have anything to say on this topic, I'm all ears. I would love to hear it. As always, I believe in you. I know that it's possible to get to a place where you are feeling more open and soft towards your emotional experiences. And I'm always here to help in any way that I can. I'll talk to you next week. Thank you for listening to the Enough Effect podcast. If you enjoyed listening, it would mean the world to me if you would subscribe to my channel, like this video, and comment your favorite thing from today's episode. Plus, don't forget to hit up my social media at abstabs, ABSTABBS, on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook for daily inspirational content to remind you that you can live a life built upon the resounding belief that being good enough was never an endeavor worth pursuing. Lastly, check out my show notes for any resources mentioned in this episode and my website, where you can find a list of all the ways I would love to work with you. See you next week, and don't forget that you are and always have been more